Today, we're diving deep into the shadows to uncover the stories of the most notorious hackers in history. From code warriors who challenged governments to masterminds who shook the foundations of cybersecurity, get ready to explore the legends and the lore of those who dared to hack the world. Imagine a teenager, just 15 years old, bringing a giant of the internet to its knees, not with a protest, but with a few lines of code. This isn't fiction. This is the true story of how a high schooler became the US most notorious hacker. In 1999, a 15-year-old boy from Florida named Jonathan James unknowingly embarked on a path that would ruin his life. Jonathan, a computer genius, had always been obsessed with computer programming and understanding different operating systems. He would often tinker with his own computer at home, reprogramming things to his liking. Eventually, he began hacking into local networks and servers out of sheer curiosity and for fun. Despite having no malicious intentions as a hacker, Jonathan soon accidentally ventured into an area he absolutely shouldn't have. Suddenly, this 15-year-old boy's name was making headlines across the country. Before long, he became the first minor ever to be incarcerated by cybercrime. This is his tragic story. Jonathan James was born on December 12, 1983. At the time, computers were rare, with only about 8% of American households owning one, compared to 94% in 2023. Despite this, Jonathan had constant access to computers because his father was a computer programmer. From around age 6, he became obsessed with computers, spending hours daily playing video games. This worried his parents, who feared his addiction would affect his health and studies. They imposed parental controls to limit his computer time, hoping he would socialize more. However, these restrictions only fueled Jonathan's determination. Viewing the controls as challenges, he began learning about computers and their operating systems to bypass them. Despite limited resources and the complexity of early computers, Jonathan became highly skilled in coding and programming. As a teenager, he performed impressive technical feats like replacing his computer's Windows operating system with Linux on his own. Given his age, Jonathan's extensive knowledge and passion for computers were remarkable. He delved deeply into the world of computers, moving beyond just bypassing restrictions to exploring the immense power and possibilities of computer technology. Jonathan's fascination with technology grew with the advent of the World Wide Web in the early 1990s, allowing people to access and exchange information globally, which captivated him. However, in 1996, when Jonathan was 13, his parents, concerned about his computer addiction, confiscated his computer. When they refused to return it, Jonathan ran away, vowing not to return until he got it back. True to his words, Jonathan stayed away, prompting his parents to involve the police, who eventually found him at a local bookstore. Upon his return, he argued with his parents, insisting his computer use wasn't detrimental since his grades remained excellent. Convinced, his parents relented and returned his computer. Unbeknownst to them or anyone else at the time, earlier that year, Jonathan had hacked into his county school system to alter his grades and infiltrated Bell South Telecommunications, a major US telecommunications company. Despite the illegality and severity of his actions, Jonathan breached Bell South's systems without detection by its cybersecurity team. Fortunately, he didn't misuse or disclose any data, indicating his motives were driven by curiosity or a desire to showcase his hacking prowess. His confession years later was the only reason his intrusion into Bell South systems came to light. Jonathan's streak of luck was soon to end. In June 1999, aged 15, he was searching for vulnerable servers to exploit and found one in Huntsville, Alabama. Using his usual method, he planted malware that granted him control over the server systems, unaware that it belonged to NASA. Unlike previous targets, NASA was highly vigilant due to its sensitive national security responsibilities. Despite this, Jonathan successfully hacked into the Marshall Space Flight Center, stealing an estimated $1.7 million worth of data. This included critical software source code for controlling the International Space Station's environment and details on advanced rocket engine development and testing. When NASA discovered the breach, they shut down their systems for 21 days, incurring over $41,000 in damages. Meanwhile, as the FBI closed in, Jonathan, oblivious to the severity, moved on to hack a server in Dulles, Virginia, belonging to the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, a Department of Defense unit. He accessed thousands of Pentagon employees' messages and obtained military usernames and passwords, marking the first breach of a Defense Department subsidiary. The Pentagon's prompt detection triggered a major investigation. On January 26, 2000, armed agents raided Jonathan's home at 6 a.m., arresting him and confiscating his internet-capable devices. In court, Jonathan admitted guilt to juvenile delinquency charges for hacking NASA and the Defense Department. Though facing potentially severe penalties, he received 6 months of house arrest and a computer ban, a lenient sentence reflecting his age and the unprecedented nature of his crimes. Additionally, Jonathan was required to draft apology letters to the Department of Defense and NASA, detailing how he breached their servers. Despite complying with these requirements and cooperating with the organizations, he violated his house arrest a few months later. Upon his rearrest, traces of drugs in his blood led to a 6-month stay in a juvenile detention center instead of house arrest, marking the first time a minor was incarcerated for his cybercrime in US history. Jonathan's case became a cautionary tale for young hackers nationwide, highlighting the severe repercussions of illegal activities. Deeply shaken by his ordeal, Jonathan returned home after serving his sentence, leaving his once beloved computers untouched and unplugged in his bedroom. Struggling with depression and anxiety, he feared constant government surveillance and regretted his past actions, realizing the risks involved. Seeking a different path, he endeavored to find alternative sources of enjoyment. Over the following years, Jonathan maintained a low profile, aspiring to lead a normal life. Despite leaving his hacking days behind, he never fully recovered from his mental health struggles. Tragedy struck again when his mother passed away from breast cancer shortly after his legal troubles at the age of 18, compounding his emotional turmoil. Despite hoping for better times ahead, challenges continued to test him. In January 2007, at age 23, a significant cyber attack targeted the TJX department store chain, resulting in the theft of personal and credit card information from millions of individuals. During the FBI's investigation, they identified several individuals involved, including Albert Gonzalez, Christopher Scott, Damon Patrick Towie, Max Vision-Strumsky, and 2 others known only by their initials JJ and JW. Further scrutiny revealed that JJ had previously collaborated with Christopher Scott in a separate hack at OfficeMax in 2004. This connection raised suspicions about Jonathan James, given his history of cybercrime, shared initials, and association with Christopher Scott. Consequently, investigators raided Jonathan's residence and those of his siblings. Despite not finding any incriminating evidence related to the TJX hack, the investigators remained convinced of Jonathan's involvement and were determined to bring him to justice. During the raid, they did find a legally owned firearm and a suicide note at Jonathan's home. However, rather than confiscating the gun and ensuring Jonathan received the help he needed, the investigators inexplicably left the firearm in his possession. Less than 2 weeks later, tragedy struck. Jonathan James' dad, Robert James, really believed that JJ was actually his son. However, the name JJ was later connected to Jim Jones, an alias used by a different cybercriminal named Stephen Watt, who was also linked to the rest of the TJX hackers. Even today, it's still uncertain whether Jonathan was truly involved in the TJX hacking. What is known, though, is that Jonathan was a bright kid with a bright future, whose life was tragically cut short by a series of choices and events that escalated far beyond his control. May he rest in peace. And if you like this video, click the next one shown on the screen. I'm sure you'll like it. Thanks for watching. Intrigue in the heartland, Iowa, Colorado, and Wisconsin form a lottery scam hotbed. A chilling December in Iowa, 2010. The holidays had just passed, but a different kind of excitement filled the air. The Iowa lottery boasted a staggering $16.5 million hot lotto jackpot. Someone won, but the celebrations were short-lived. Weeks turned into months, and the winner remained a ghost. Calls flooded the lottery office, all claims bogus. Then, on a seemingly ordinary November day in 2011, nearly a year later, a lawyer named Philip Johnston emerged with a winning ticket. Relief washed over the lottery officials until a single question shattered the illusion. Unbeknownst to Johnston, lottery officials had security footage of the ticket buyer. The image revealed a figure in dark clothing, a stark contrast to Johnston's description. This discrepancy raised red flags. After further questioning, Johnston's carefully constructed narrative began to unravel. He admitted he wasn't the winner, but a lawyer representing someone who wished to remain anonymous. However, the lottery wouldn't budge, claim anonymity, or forfeit the prize. Johnston, facing a dilemma, threatened to walk away if anonymity wasn't granted. The call ended abruptly, leaving the lottery officials with more questions than answers. The situation was a head-scratcher unlike anything the lottery had ever seen, but the plot thickened just weeks later. On December 29, 2011, with mere hours left before the ticket expired, two sharply dressed men stormed into Lottery HQ. They claimed to be high-powered lawyers, flashing credentials from a respected Des Moines firm. They were not messing around. They declared and promptly presented the $16.5 million ticket. Everything seemed settled until it wasn't. These weren't the winners. Instead, they represented a mysterious trust, a company managing someone else's assets and offering layers of anonymity. The plot, already bizarre, took another unexpected turn. The plot thickens further. The trustee of this shaded trust, a company based in Belize, a notorious tax haven, turns out to be none other than Philip Johnston himself, the lawyer who first tried to claim the prize. Let's rewind. First, Johnston appears as a lawyer for an anonymous winner. Then, a prestigious Des Moines law firm claims the prize on behalf of this dubious trust. Same Belizean company. This elaborate web of connections raises serious alarms for the lottery officials. They refuse to pay, suspecting foul play, and involve the authorities. The investigation begins, but the identity of the ticket buyer and Johnston's motives remain shrouded in mystery for years to come. A break in the case. October 9, 2014, years of investigation yielded little progress. Just as the police were about to throw in the towel, they made a last-ditch effort. They released the CCTV footage of the ticket buyer. The tip that cracked the case came from a surprising source, Jason Marr, an employee at the Iowa lottery itself. To everyone's shock, Marr identified the buyer as his colleague, Eddie Tipton, the lottery's information security director. This was a major breakthrough, but it only raised more questions. How did Tipton, who couldn't legally play the lottery, get his hands on the winning ticket? What was his connection to Philip Johnston? And the most concerning theory, could Tipton have rigged the lottery system itself? The plot took a dark turn, leading investigators down a rabbit hole of potential manipulation. Tampering with the lottery's random number generator seemed like a near impossible feat. The machine resided in a locked, glass-walled room, accessible only by two people at a time, under constant camera surveillance. Additionally, it wasn't connected to the internet or any external network. Despite these seemingly foolproof safeguards, suspicion fell on Eddie Tipton. A review of the secure room's activity log revealed a single, crucial detail. Tipton had entered the room with a colleague on November 20, 2010. His official task? Adjusting the computer for daylight saving time. This brief window of access, however, became the only opportunity Tipton could have exploited to tamper with the system, raising serious questions about his motives and potential methods. Adding another layer of suspicion, the security cameras in the random number generator room malfunctioned on the very day Tipton accessed it. These cameras, normally capturing continuous footage, inexplicably switched to recording only 1 second per minute. This crucial gap made it possible to verify exactly what transpired during Tipton's visit. With the FBI now heavily involved, investigators turned their attention to Tipton's colleagues and friends. These inquiries revealed a disturbing detail. Tipton harbored a fascination with rootkits, a type of undetectable malware granting complete control over an infected device. The pieces began to fall into place. An IT security expert obsessed with hacking tools, a suspiciously timed visit to the secure room with a convenient camera malfunction, and a subsequent lottery win. The circumstantial evidence against Tipton was mounting. However, concrete proof of his alleged tampering with the system remained elusive. A breakthrough came when investigators finally unraveled Philip Johnston's involvement. Surprisingly, he wasn't working for Tipton or the offshore companies. Instead, he was a lawyer of Robert Rhodes, Eddie Tipton's best friend. With Rhodes under arrest, the interrogation finally yielded a confession. The two had meticulously planned the entire scheme for months, from Tipton's alleged tampering with the machine to Johnston's assistance with the offshore accounts. This, however, was just the tip of the iceberg. The investigation, now including the FBI, uncovered a series of past lottery wins linked to Tipton and Rhodes. In 2005, Eddie Tipton, conveniently positioned on the Colorado Lottery's random number generator construction team, saw his brother win a staggering $560,000. Similar suspicious wins emerged. A $780,000 Wisconsin lottery win cashed by an LLC controlled by Rhodes, with the most of the money later transferred to Tipton, and a $1.2 million payout to a suspected relative or close friend of Tipton. These past wins painted a disturbing picture of a serial lottery fraudster operating for years under the radar. Despite the lack of confirmed connection between Tipton and the $1.2 million winner, one thing became undeniably clear. Eddie Tipton orchestrated one of the most bizarre hacking schemes the US had ever seen. The malware he supposedly used wasn't even sophisticated. Investigators believe the success of these infiltrations hinged largely on the trust lottery companies placed in Tipton. The biggest question remained: how did no one notice him tampering with the random number generators? Driven by greed, Tipton's luck eventually ran out. He was arrested in 2015 and, after confessing to rigging Hot Lotto and several other lotteries, received a 25-year prison sentence and a hefty $2 million repayment order to the defrauded lottery companies. The case exposed vulnerabilities in lottery security and highlighted the dangers of insider threats. Tipton's 25-year sentence served as a stark reminder that even the seemingly perfect crime can crumble under the weight of investigation. And if you like this video, click the next one shown on the screen. I'm sure you'll like it. Thanks for watching. Imagine a 16-year-old kid, hoodie pulled low, fingers flying across a keyboard in a dimly lit room. He's not playing games. He's cracking into some of the world's biggest companies. This isn't just fiction. It's the real story of Ariane Curtage, the teenage hacker who became a global sensation and a major headache for law enforcement. But the question is why? What drove this seemingly ordinary kid to risk everything for the thrill of the hack? Join us as we delve into the mind of Ariane Curtage. Ariane wasn't just your average kid. Sure, he wasn't the star athlete or the class clown, but beneath his quiet exterior hummed a different kind of energy. From a young age, he possessed a natural affinity for technology, dismantling old radios and toasters just to see how they ticked. Legos weren't enough. He craved the intricate language of circuits and codes. His bedroom became a mini laboratory, wires snaking across his desk like digital vines. While other kids played video games, Ariane devoured coding tutorials, his fingers dancing across the keyboard like a seasoned pianist. He built websites, created simple games, and dove headfirst into online forums, soaking up knowledge from like-minded individuals. But his fascination wasn't always innocent. School pranks, harmless at first, started taking a mischievous turn. He'd hack into the school network, changing grades or redirecting announcements to his own witty remarks. The thrill of outsmarting the system, bending it to his will, ignited a spark within him. Teachers, initially impressed by his talent, grew concerned. Was this simply youthful curiosity or a sign of something darker? The line between playful exploration and malicious intent began to blur. His parents, supportive of his passion, struggled to understand the complexities of the digital world their son navigated with such ease. As Arian delved deeper into the digital world, the question loomed: was he a prodigy destined for greatness or a problem child teetering on the edge? The answer, it seemed, lay not just in his talent, but in the choices he would make in the years to come. The early pranks were mere child's play compared to the digital storm Arian was about to unleash. As his coding skills matured, so did his ambition. Gone were the school network intrusions. His sights were now set on bigger targets, corporate giants holding mountains of sensitive data. His first major breakthrough came with a daring exploit of Microsoft's cloud servers. He weaved through their security like a phantom, accessing and downloading terabytes of confidential information. The news exploded, painting a picture of a teenage hacker who had breached the fortress of a tech giant. But Arian wasn't seeking personal gain. He leaked portions of the stolen data, exposing vulnerabilities and sparking public debate about privacy concerns. Some hailed him as a digital Robin Hood, a vigilante holding corporations accountable. Others saw him as a reckless thrill seeker, playing a dangerous game with potentially devastating consequences. He didn't stop there. Each hack grew more audacious, pushing the boundaries of his skills and the audacity of his targets. Uber's internal systems fell victim, exposing private driver information and jeopardizing user safety. Rockstar Games, known for their popular game franchises, saw their source code leak, causing delays and financial losses. With each attack, the heat intensified. Law enforcement agencies around the world scrambled to track down the elusive hacker. The media painted him as a digital menace, a lone wolf wreaking havoc in the digital landscape. Arian's exploits ignited a firestorm of debate. Was he a digital vigilante, exposing corporate malfeasance and holding powerful entities accountable? Or was he a reckless hacker, playing a dangerous game with potentially devastating consequences? His supporters, often tech-savvy individuals and privacy advocates, lauded him as a modern-day Robin Hood. They saw his actions as a necessary wake-up call, exposing the vulnerabilities of corporations that prioritize profit over user security. They argued that his leaks sparked important conversations about data privacy and corporate accountability. However, his detractors, including cybersecurity experts and law enforcement officials, painted a different picture. They argued that his actions were reckless and irresponsible, putting millions of people at risk. The leaked data could be used for identity theft, financial fraud, and other malicious activities. Arian himself remained silent, offering no justifications or apologies. His actions sparked a complex debate, blurring the lines between right and wrong, hero and villain. But one thing was clear: Arian Curtis, the teenage hacker, had forced the world to confront the uncomfortable truths about our digital age. The digital cat-and-mouse game reached its climax. After months of international pursuit, law enforcement agencies finally closed in on Arian. A coordinated raid on his London apartment saw him apprehended, ending his reign as the elusive hacker. The world watched in anticipation. Who was the teenager who had outsmarted some of the most sophisticated security systems? What motivated him to risk everything? The answers remained shrouded in mystery, locked away with Arian himself. The legal battle was fierce. Prosecutors painted him as a cybercriminal, demanding harsh punishment. His defense argued for leniency, emphasizing his youth and potential for rehabilitation. The courtroom became a battleground, not just for justice, but for the very meaning of hacking in the digital age. Law enforcement officials saw him as a threat, needing to be neutralized. Cybersecurity experts debated the security vulnerabilities he exposed, calling for stronger defenses. legal analysts grappled with the complex legal and ethical issues surrounding his actions. Arian Curtige's story wasn't just a headline-grabbing hack. It served as a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities of our digital world and the complex issues surrounding hacking in the 21st century. Cybersecurity experts highlighted the over-sophisticating tactics of hackers and the urgent need for stronger defenses. Companies scrambled to patch vulnerabilities exposed by Arian's exploits, and individuals re-evaluated their online privacy practices. But beyond the technical concerns, Arian's story sparked a debate about the ethics of hacking. Was he a Robin Hood figure exposing corporate wrongdoings, or a reckless criminal jeopardizing individuals' safety? Some argued that his actions, however wrong, sparked important conversations about data privacy and corporate accountability. Others emphasized the damage caused by the leaks and the potential for abuse of stolen information. In the end, the legal system delivered its verdict. Arian faced consequences for his actions, serving as a cautionary tale for those tempted to follow his path. Yet, the debate about his motivations and the wider implications of his story continued. Arian Curtige, the teenage hacker, may have faded from the headlines, but his story served as a wake-up call. It reminded us that the digital world is a double-edged sword, offering convenience and connection, but also harboring risks and vulnerabilities. Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, click the next one shown on the screen. I'm sure you'll like it. Thanks for watching. Have you ever wondered about the mysterious world of hacking and the individuals who dare to challenge the seemingly impenetrable? Today, we're diving into the story of Jonathan James, a 16-year-old who shocked the world by hacking into NASA's network. But this isn't just a tale of cybercrime. It's a complex story of brilliance, defiance, and a tragic ending that leaves us with important questions about society and the pressure on young minds. Born in Miami, Florida, Jonathan James displayed a fascination with technology from a young age. He tinkered with electronics, devoured computer manuals, and even built his own computer by piecing together parts. His curiosity wasn't limited to hardware. He also delved into the world of software, learning programming languages with impressive speed. James' formal education wasn't a perfect fit for his unique talents. He found regular classes uninspiring and often skipped school to explore the digital world. However, his self-directed learning fueled his hacking skills. He joined online communities, downloaded resources, and practiced his craft, immersing himself in the technical intricacies of cyberspace. While some might associate hacking with malicious intent, James's early hacking exploits seemed more driven by curiosity and a desire to understand complex systems. He explored vulnerabilities in local networks, often patching them up as he went. This early ethical hacking foreshadowed his later internal conflict between exploration and ethical boundaries. Despite his unconventional learning path, James's exceptional abilities didn't go unnoticed. A local computer security expert, Richard Forno, recognized his talent and offered him guidance. Forno introduced James to ethical hacking competitions, providing a platform for his skills and encouraging him to use them responsibly. However, James's brilliance was intertwined with personal struggles. He faced social isolation and felt misunderstood by his peers and teachers. This alienation, coupled with the thrill of his hacking exploits, pushed him towards darker territory, setting the stage for the events that could change his life forever. In 1999, at the peak of his teenage angst and fueled by curiosity, James set his sights on a seemingly impossible target: NASA. His hacking skills had grown sophisticated, and he meticulously planned his infiltration. He exploited vulnerabilities in NASA systems, using a combination of social engineering and technical prowess to bypass security measures. While James claimed his motives were solely driven by a desire to challenge his skills and expose vulnerabilities, The full extent of his intentions remains shrouded in mystery. He downloaded sensitive data, including source code for the International Space Station, raising concerns about potential malicious intent. The breach wasn't just a single point of entry. James managed to access multiple NASA centers, including the Marshall Space Flight Center and the Langley Research Center. He downloaded sensitive files related to various projects, including classified information about the Space Shuttle program. The NASA breach was a wake-up call for the entire nation. It exposed critical vulnerabilities in America's defense systems and highlighted the increasing sophistication of cyber threats. NASA scrambled to patch the security holes and reassess its cybersecurity measures. The incident also sparked national conversations about cybersecurity awareness and the need for stronger protections in the digital age. With stolen data and a trail of digital footprints, investigators raced to identify the culprit. The FBI, aided by NASA's security team, tracked James down using his online aliases and internet activity. The young hacker's digital prowess, initially used to explore, now ironically led to his capture. James' age and his claim of non-malicious intent didn't shield him from legal repercussions. He became the first minor convicted of cybercrime under the Espionage Act, facing a harsh sentence that reflected the seriousness of the breach and the national security concerns it raised. Jonathan James' case became a landmark in cybercrime law. As the first minor convicted under the Espionage Act of hacking, his situation sparked heated debates. While some argued for leniency due to his age and claimed lack of malicious intent, others emphasized the severity of the breach and the sensitive data accessed. Despite his age, James received a hefty sentence: 6 months in prison, probation until he turned 18, and a significant fine. This punishment, intended to deter future cybercrime, was seen by some as excessively harsh for a teenager, especially considering the lack of proven malicious intent. The legal repercussions, however, were just the beginning. James faced intense public scrutiny and media attention, further isolating him and amplifying his existing social anxiety. This negative attention, coupled with the pressure of probation and restrictions on his computer use, significantly impacted his mental health. James' educational and professional aspirations were derailed. The criminal record and probation restrictions severely limited his options, making it difficult to find employment or even continue his education in technology-related fields. This further fueled his frustration and sense of isolation. James's case also triggered discussions about the justice system's treatment of young offenders, particularly those involved in cybercrime. Questions arose about the balance between punishment, rehabilitation, and understanding the unique challenges faced by gifted individuals struggling with social integration. The legal precedent set by James's case has had lasting implications for cybercrime prosecution, particularly involving minors. While some criticized the severity of his sentence, it undeniably played a role in raising awareness about cybersecurity vulnerabilities and emphasizing the need for robust digital security measures. Jonathan James was more than just a hacker. He was a young man grappling with complex internal struggles, social isolation, mental health challenges, and a disconnect from his peers. These issues, unfortunately, intertwined with his exceptional talent, ultimately contributing to his tragic path. Even before the NASA breach, James exhibited signs of social awkwardness and difficulty fitting in. He felt misunderstood by both classmates and teachers, often finding solace in the online world where his technical skills were appreciated. This social isolation likely fueled his desire for exploration and pushed him towards increasingly daring hacking exploits. James reportedly struggled with depression and anxiety. These conditions, often exacerbated by social isolation and lack of understanding, can significantly impact judgment and lead to risky behavior. While the full extent of his mental health challenges remains unknown, they undoubtedly played a role in his actions and the difficult path he walked. The legal system, focused on the severity of the breach, primarily viewed James through the lens of his actions. However, critics argue that the system failed to adequately address his underlying mental health struggles and the unique pressures he faced as a gifted teenager navigating a complex world. The story raises questions about how society can better support and guide gifted individuals, particularly those facing personal challenges. Could early intervention or access to mental health resources have altered his trajectory? This remains a crucial question we must consider to prevent similar tragedies. In May 2008, at the age of 25, Jonathan James tragically took his own life. This devastating event cast a long shadow over his already complex story, raising questions about societal pressures, mental health support, and the potential for a different outcome. James's death robbed the world of a unique talent and a potential future filled with positive contributions. His story, however, serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of recognizing the signs of distress, especially in individuals facing immense pressure and limited support. The exact reasons behind James's decision remain unclear. Did the ongoing legal ramifications, the social stigma, or his mental health struggles ultimately push him to this tragic end? While we may never have definitive answers, these questions urge us to examine the various factors that can contribute to such despair. Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, click the next one shown on the screen. I'm sure you'll like it. Thanks for watching. Imagine a hacker shrouded in secrecy. A digital phantom known only as Pompompurin wreaking havoc across the internet. He cracked the FBI, leaked millions of users' data, and became a legend on the dark web. But how do you catch a ghost in the virtual world? Today, we unravel the thrilling story of Pompurin's downfall. A tale of digital breadcrumbs, daring undercover ops, and one crucial mistake that brought him crashing down to earth. Stick around to find out. The year is 2021. The internet whispers with the name Pompompurin, a mischievous hacker whose adorable online avatar, a fluffy pink cat, belied the chaos he unleashed. He weaved through the dark web like a phantom, leaving a trail of breached servers and stolen data in his wake. Imagine the shockwave when the FBI, the mighty guardian of American secrets, found itself infiltrated. Fake emails bearing their logo flooded inboxes, spewing disinformation and sowing distrust. Pompompurin claimed responsibility, a gleeful taunt flung across the digital landscape. Then came the Robin Hood hack. Millions of users' financial data exposed and vulnerable. Panicked investors watched their life savings hang in the digital balance, a stark reminder of Pompompurin's reach and ruthlessness. He wasn't just a hacker, he was a puppeteer, pulling the strings of fear and uncertainty. Breach forums, his online lair, became a bazaar of stolen goods and illicit deals. Hackers traded exploits, malware whispered its secrets, and stolen identities dangled like trophies. Pompompurin reveled in his notoriety. He taunted authorities, basked in the applause of his dark web acolytes, and spun himself a legend woven from stolen bytes and broken trust. But in the shadows, unseen eyes watched. The FBI, their pride wounded, their duty sworn, had started building a case. They meticulously gathered digital threads, tracing the faint footprints Pompompurin left behind. Every forum post, every leaked document, every scrap of code became a clue in the grand cyber detective game. They followed the scent of his exploits, their hunt driven by burning desire to unmask the man behind the kawaii cat. Pompompurin, the elusive hacker, wasn't just a mischievous ghost. He was a digital octopus, his slimy tentacles reaching across the internet, leaving faint traces in his wake. The FBI, determined to reel him in, embarked on a meticulous game of digital spelunking, navigating the murky depths of the dark web. First, they cast a wide net. IP addresses, gleaned from the shadows of breached servers in dark web forums, were meticulously analyzed. Each address, a flickering beacon in the dark, pointed towards potential hideouts, potential accomplices. Days bled into weeks as the investigators sifted through mountains of data, searching for the needle in the digital haystack. But Pompompurin was cunning. He used virtual private networks, those digital cloaks, to mask his true location. Each layer peeled back revealed another, like an onion with secrets at its core. The frustration was palpable, the pressure mounting. Yet the agents persevered, driven by an unwavering determination to unmask the phantom hacker. Then came the break, a seemingly innocuous chat log on a defunct forum. Raid forums, a treasure trove of evidence seized by the FBI. Buried within, a trail of breadcrumbs, IP addresses that, like constellations in the digital sky, aligned with those used by Pompompurin. The excitement was electric, a tangible shift in the hunt. But breadcrumbs can lead in many directions. The agents, wary of false leads, meticulously verified each clue. They cross-referenced timestamps, analyzed online aliases, and delved into the hacker's digital footprint. Sleep became a luxury, their eyes glued to screens, fueled by coffee and the thrill of the chase. The investigation stretched across borders, forging alliances with international agencies. Europol and UK police became vital allies, sharing intel, piecing together the puzzle bit by bit. The web of connections grew, tightening around Pompompurin, slowly suffocating his freedom. Yet, the phantom remained elusive. The digital trail, though clearer, still led through a labyrinth of servers and proxies. The agents knew they were close, the scent of success tantalizing. But they couldn't afford a misstep. The hunt for Pompompurin, the digital phantom, reached its fever pitch. Armed with intel from an agent, the FBI tightened the net, closing in on the hacker's real-world identity. Every click, every message, every pixel became a clue leading to his unmasking. One seemingly insignificant detail, a forum avatar used by Pompompurin, held the key. It wasn't just a cute picture, it was an obscure anime character rarely used online. This niche reference, like a fingerprint in the digital world, narrowed the search to a handful of individuals within a specific anime fan community. With laser focus, the FBI combed through social media profiles, online forums, and public records. Cross-referencing the anime avatar with other clues, they zeroed in on a promising suspect, a young programmer living in a quiet suburban town. On a crisp morning, the FBI descended upon the suspect's house. Armed with a warrant and a pounding heart, they breached the digital fortress of his computer, unraveling the layers of encryption that shielded his online persona. There, on the screen, a familiar avatar blinked at them, the fluffy pink cat, the symbol of Pompompurin's reign of terror. The evidence was overwhelming: stolen data, leaked passwords, and incriminating chat logs, all bearing the digital fingerprints of the unmasked hacker. The young man, once shrouded in the anonymity of the dark web, stood handcuffed in the harsh light of reality. His online bravado crumbled, replaced by a shell-shocked teenager facing the consequences of his actions. Pompompurin's fall sent shockwaves through the cybercrime underworld. His arrest served as a stark reminder: no matter how well you surround yourself in the darkness of the internet, Your actions leave traces, and eventually the light of justice will shine through. The story of Pompompurin is not just about catching a hacker. It's a cautionary tale about the perils of the digital world and the importance of responsible online behavior. It's a testament to the tireless efforts of law enforcement agencies working tirelessly to combat cybercrime and protect our digital lives. Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, click the next one shown on the screen. Thanks for watching! Ever wondered who the FBI has on its most wanted list for cyber offenses? What makes this Russian hacker stand out among the rest? Today, we're diving into the story of Maxim Yakubets, the notorious Russian hacker who's currently chilling on the FBI's most wanted list. He's not your typical hoodie-wearing loner hacker. Stay tuned as we uncover the intriguing tale of Maxim Yakubets, a mastermind behind some of the most sophisticated cyber attacks. Let's get started. The making of Maxim Yakubets. Moscow, early 2000s. A teenage Maxim Yakubets sits hunched over a flickering CRT monitor, fingers flying across the keyboard. He wasn't your average kid glued to cartoons. He was navigating the virtual battlefields of online games, not with a joystick, but with the lines of code. His digital prowess was legendary. His username Aqua whispered with awe in chat rooms across the globe. He could crack any defense, conquer any server, a virtual Robin Hood stealing pixels and bragging rights. But like any legend, fame can be a fickle mistress. The thrill of the game wore thin, replaced by a hunger for something more tangible. Soon, his playground shifted from pixelated arenas to the sprawling plains of the internet. He discovered a dark underbelly, a shadow network where whispers of exploits and vulnerabilities traded like forbidden currency. And he, Aqua, was a quick learner. He started small, dipping his toes into the murky waters of account takeovers. Using his gaming skills, he crafted phishing emails that snagged passwords like trout on a barbless hook. Then came the bigger fish, online banking. With newfound tools like the infamous Zeus malware, he became a phantom, silently siphoning millions from unsuspecting accounts, leaving behind trails of digital breadcrumbs that only the most skilled trackers could follow. The money flowed like a digital river, and Yakubets, the once humble gamer, transformed into a virtual playboy. He traded pixelated dragons for Lamborghinis, online avatars for pet lions. His lavish Moscow wedding, a garish display of ill-gotten gains, became a cautionary tale whispered across hacker forums. He was living the cyberpunk dream, a Robin Hood turned outlaw king, reigning over a digital fiefdom built on stolen loot. Evil Corp. It wasn't just a name. It was a chilling acronym whispered with fear and loathing in the harsh tones of cybersecurity circles. And at the helm, allegedly, stood Maxim Yakubets, the once celebrated online gamer turned cyber thief extraordinaire. Gone were the days of petty account hacking. Evil Corp was a well-oiled machine, a criminal symphony conductor orchestrating global scams with ruthless efficiency. Zeus, the malware that first made Yakubets famous, was upgraded, morphed into a hydra-headed beast. Droidex, its new name, slithered its way into unsuspecting computers, planting digital landmines that exploded with stolen bank logins. Millions disappeared overnight, victims left bewildered and broken, mere casualties in Evil Corp's relentless march towards digital dominance. But money wasn't enough. Evil Corp craved notoriety, a desire to rewrite the rules of the game and leave the world trembling in their wake. Enter ransomware, the digital Green Reaper knocking on doors, demanding an eye for an eye in the form of cryptocurrency. Hospitals saw patient records held hostage, businesses crippled by encrypted files, all with a single bone-chilling message: pay or watch your lifeblood drain away. Evil Corp flaunted their ill-gotten gains with audacious glee. Private jets ferrying them to exotic locals, Lamborghinis gleaming in opulent driveways, parties that would make Gatsby blush. They were the rock stars of the cyber underworld, laughing in the face of Interpol and thumbing their noses at national security agencies. The world watched, aghast and indignant. Governments scrambled. Cybersecurity firms doubled down. The hunt for Evil Corp's puppet master intensifying with each passing day. The FBI slapped a $5 million bounty on Yakubet's head, turning Aqua from gaming legend to the world's most wanted hacker. Maxim Yakubets, the alleged founder of Evil Corp, wasn't just a hacker. He was a ghost, a cipher cloaked in suspicion and whispers. And like any shadowy figure, his ties to the Russian intelligence agency, the FSB, were shrouded in an enigma of smoke and mirrors. The accusations hung heavy that Yakubets, the cyber kingpin, wasn't just a rogue operator, but a pawn in a much larger game. The US Treasury Department painted a chilling picture, claiming he'd been working for the FSB since 2017. His nimble fingers not just pilfering bank accounts, but extracting classified documents through cyber-enabled operations. The evidence, though, was like cobwebs, tangled, flimsy, and riddled with holes. Some saw financial connections, a trail of rubbles leading back to FSB coffers. Others pointed to Yakubet's seemingly unhindered activities in Russia, a freedom that reeked of state protection. But to definitively prove a link, to pierce the FSB's veil of secrecy, was a task worthy of Hercule himself. The FSB, a behemoth of espionage and counterintelligence, remained stone-faced. No denials, no confirmations, just an icy silence that fueled the flames of speculation. Were they using Yakubets as a weapon in their cyber warfare arsenal? Or was he simply a clever hacker, exploiting the cracks in a complex world? Maxim Yakubets, the elusive Aqua, vanishes like a digital wisp. One moment, his name is plastered across headlines, the FBI's most wanted. The next, he's a phantom, a ghost lost in the labyrinthine alleys of the internet. Where is he? The chase is on, a global manhunt playing out across continents and firewalls. The FBI, with its arsenal of cyber sleuths and international partners, casts a wide net. They follow digital breadcrumbs, crumbs scattered across servers and hidden behind layers of encryption. They track whispers in underground forums, hoping for a careless boast, a crack in the mask. Each lead is a rabbit hole, leading deeper into the digital warren where Yakubets might be hiding. But Yakubets, the seasoned gamer, knows the rules of the chase. He covers his tracks like a ninja, shifting identities using disposable devices, disappearing into the anonymity of the crowd. The chase leads them down dark alleys, through encrypted chat rooms, and to seedy corners of the dark web. They chase rumors, chase shadows, chase ghosts in the machine. Each dead end is a blow, a reminder of Yakubet's cunning, his ability to stay one step ahead. But the investigators don't give up. They are driven by a sense of justice, a desire to bring the Aqua to book, to make him answer for the millions stolen. The lives appended by his digital reign of terror. They pore over surveillance footage, scrutinize financial records, and analyze terabytes of data, searching for the needle in the digital haystack. And sometimes, just when hope seems to flicker out, a break comes. A slip-up, a forgotten alias, a piece of intercepted communication. Suddenly, the labyrinth opens, revealing a glimpse of the path ahead. The investigators sprint, chasing the lead, hoping it will finally lead them to their elusive quarry. The hunt for Yakubets is a game of cat and mouse, played out on the global stage. It's a race against time, against cyber anonymity, against the ever-shifting landscape of the digital world. It's a reminder that in the age of cybercrime, no border is safe, no corner of the internet truly secure. In the ever-evolving world of cybercrime, will justice ever truly prevail? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, click the next one shown on the screen. I'm sure you'll like it. Thanks for watching.
For nearly a decade, it was one of the biggest mysteries in crypto. Who stole 50,000 bitcoins, which would ultimately be worth more than $3 billion, from a dark web site called the Silk Road?
Jimmy, how do you feel after this today? Jimmy, you feel like the judge was fair today? Why'd you steal the money, Jimmy? A spectacular crime.
This is going to be a huge case, and there's a lot more money that we don't know about.
Imagine, hidden in the dark corners of the internet, a billion-dollar heist unfolds. Not gold, not diamonds, but something even more elusive: Bitcoin. And the thief? Not a masked villain, but a seemingly ordinary young man named James Jong. Could you get away with stealing billions in broad daylight? And what happens when your ill-gotten gains become a ticking time bomb? Join us as we delve deeper into the story of James Jong, Bitcoin theft from online black market. The Silk Road shimmered in the underbelly of the internet, a digital bazaar filled with the forbidden and the frowned upon. James Jong, a young coder with a restless mind, wasn't there for the illicit merchandise. He was an observer, a digital anthropologist studying the strange tribes that thrived in this lawless frontier. But like a moth drawn to a flame, he couldn't help but tinker with the Silk Road's code, his fingers itching to unravel its digital fabric. One late night, a glint of opportunity caught his eye: a misplaced semicolon, a forgotten comma, a tiny typo in the programming had opened a gaping maw in the marketplace's security. It was a wormhole, a portal into a bottomless pool of Bitcoin, the currency that fueled this shadowy marketplace. At first, it was a whisper, a trickle of digital coins siphoned off with the delicacy of a pickpocket in a velvet crowd. 100 Bitcoin, 1,000, 10,000. The numbers swam before his eyes, an intoxicating dance of zeros and ones promising a life beyond his wildest dreams. He was a ghost in the machine, unseen, unheard, siphoning off a fortune from the very heart of the Silk Road. But greed, like a virus, infected his mind. The initial thrill morphed into an insatiable hunger. He pushed the wormhole wider, the virtual coins flowing faster, a torrent that threatened to overflow his digital pockets. Fear became his constant companion, a cold fist clenching his stomach as he imagined the day his secret would be unraveled. He built a fortress of his own, a labyrinth of encrypted wallets and virtual machines, each layer designed to mask his trail. He traded under aliases, a phantom flitting through the dark web, forever glancing over his shoulder, the stolen Bitcoin, a ticking time bomb in his digital vault. The Silk Road continued to hum, oblivious to the silent heist unfolding within its circuits. But the clock was ticking, and James Jong, the accidental thief, found himself trapped in a game of his own making, a game where the stakes were not just his freedom, but the very future of his existence. Life under the radar. The Cheetos teen sat innocuously on his shelf, an orange beacon amidst the mundane clatter of his apartment. Tucked inside, nestled amidst wadded-up receipts and discarded candy wrappers, lay the key to a life James no longer recognized. Not a single Bitcoin gleamed from its depths, yet within the unassuming container resided a fortune so vast it felt like a physical weight on his chest. Living under the radar became an art form. Every purchase, every online interaction held the potential to trip the invisible wires he felt snaking throughout his life. He traded his beat-up Civic for a used pickup, the anonymity of its utilitarian blandness a shield against scrutiny. He frequented dive bars and greasy spoons, his designer clothes banished to the back of his closet, replaced by faded t-shirts and worn jeans. He became a master of subterfuge, employing a patchwork of burner phones and internet cafes to conduct his online life. Every email felt like a whisper in a crowded room, every transaction a potential echo that could lead back to him. Paranoia, once a knowing suspicion, became a constant companion, its icy tendril slithering through his every waking thought. But the silence was deafening. The thrill of the Silk Road heist had long evaporated, placed by a hollow ache and the suffocating weight of his secret. He craved human connection, genuine friendships untainted by fear and suspicion. Yet, how could he share his life with anyone when its very foundation was built on stolen sand? The Cheetos teen became a symbol of his isolation, a physical manifestation of the invisible wall he'd built around himself. He'd glance at it, his fingertips hovering over the lead, a masochistic ritual of confronting the gilded cage he'd constructed. Was this the life he dreamed of when he first glimpsed the endless well of Bitcoin? Or was it a cruel, twisted parody, a monument to his folly? He tried normalcy, dating women he met at the laundromat, chatting with neighbors over the fence, but the words felt hollow, forced through a filter of fabricated reality. The stolen Bitcoin, that silent serpent coiled in his chest, choked the life out of any genuine emotion. He was a ghost hunting his own life, trapped in a purgatory of his own making. So he retreated further. The Cheetos teen his anchor and his curse. He poured himself into coding projects, building intricate simulations of virtual worlds, desperate to escape the suffocating confines of his own reality. In the humming glow of his computer screen, he sought solace, a digital Eden where he could shed the shackles of his secret and breathe freely. But the echoes of the Silk Road heist refused to fade. The weight of the Cheetos teen, ever present, a constant reminder that the real world, with its harsh realities and lurking shadows, was always just a click away. The net closes in. Years passed, a slow-motion dance between Jong and the ever-tightening noose of his secret. He meticulously navigated the digital tightrope, each transaction a calculated lift, each interaction a carefully choreographed waltz of deception. Yet, beneath the surface, unease gnawed at him, a persistent feeling that the music would stop. The spotlight found him. One seemingly insignificant mistake shattered the illusion of control. A forgotten alias used on a forum, a metadata trail left unmasked, a tiny crack in the meticulously constructed facade. It was a whisper in the vast expanse of the internet, but the IRS and FBI, own predators in the digital jungle, caught the scent. The investigation unfolded like a slow-burning fire, embers of suspicion gradually igniting into a blaze of evidence. Financial transactions were meticulously traced, online footprints meticulously mapped. The Cheetos tin, once a symbol of hidden fortune, became a beacon of vulnerability, its innocuous exterior no match for the digital bloodhound sniffing at its heels. The day of reckoning arrived, not with a dramatic bust, but with a quiet knock on the door. Agents, faces grim and eyes sharp, descended upon Jong's lakefront home. The facade crumbled, the carefully constructed layers of lies peeled away like dead skin. The Cheetos teen, retrieved from its hiding place, felt colder than ever in his hands, a tangible relic of a past he could no longer escape. He had anticipated fear, adrenaline, and a desperate urge to flee. Instead, a strange calm washed over him. The years of living under the radar, the constant vigilance, had drained him of any fight left. He confessed, a rare acceptance replacing the once bright spark of defiance. The news of his arrest ricocheted through the world, a stark reminder of the long arm of justice, even in the darkest corners of the internet. Jong's face, plastered across headlines, became a symbol of both cunning and downfall, a cautionary tale of the treacherous path he had chosen. As he awaited sentencing, the weight of the Cheetos tin, now an exhibit in a courtroom far removed from his once anonymous life, seemed to crush him. The billion-dollar fortune, once a phantom dream, became a burden too heavy to bear. Justice and forgiveness. The courtroom hummed with a morbid curiosity. Spectators, a mix of journalists, victims, and internet sleuths, leaned forward, eager to witness the man who had once held a stolen fortune in his digital hands. James Strong, once a ghost in the machine, now materialized as flesh and blood, clad in an ill-fitting prison uniform, his eyes downcast under the harsh fluorescent lights. The judge, a stern woman with a gaze that seemed to pierce through facades, read the sentence, 1 year and 1 day. A collective gasp rippled through the room. Some, expecting a harsher penalty, expressed disbelief. Others, victims of Silk Road's illicit trade, saw it as a slap in the face. For Jong, however, the sentence held a strange duality. Relief washed over him. The years of paranoia, the suffocating weight of the secret finally lifted. Yet, shame clung to him like a second skin. Could a year, even a lifetime, ever truly be enough to atone for what he'd done? The question of justice hung heavy in the air. Had he gotten off easy? Should his cooperation, his surrender, earn him leniency? The victims, robbed of their livelihoods, their identities, their very sense of security, grappled with the complexities of forgiveness. How could one forgive the man who had stolen their peace, their trust in the digital world? But forgiveness, like justice, is a nuanced dance. Some victims, scarred but resilient, found solace in the hope that the recovered Bitcoin could help rebuild their lives. Others, their wounds still raw, clung to anger, unable to reconcile the crime with Jong's seemingly ordinary face. For Jong, the path to forgiveness began not with grand gestures, but with quiet acts of contrition. He met with victims, his voice raw and hesitant as he offered apologies, not excuses. He volunteered for digital security programs, his coding skills once used for subterfuge now employed to shield others from harm. In the end, the story of James Strong transcended the binary of justice and forgiveness. It became a testament to the human capacity for both transgression and redemption, for darkness and light. He remained a flawed figure, his guilt a perpetual scar, but within him grew a fragile hope, a desire to build a future where the ghost of the Cheetos tin no longer held him captive. What does the James Strong case tell us about the future of cryptocurrency and our relationship with technology? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, click the next one shown on the screen. I'm sure you'll like it. Thanks for